Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Caden Kubler and welcome to Caden's Corner. What a week one win for the Dallas Cowboys. Coming into this year, there was so much chatter about the Dallas Cowboys, like there always is, but more than usual, about how they're going to fall apart, how they won't have Ceedee Lamb, how they won't have Dak Prescott, and how this is the last year that this team is fully going to be together. And I will admit, it was looking really concerning at one point for this Cowboys team. They waited 10 days until the season started to sign Ceedee Lamb to this big-time contract. And then only a few hours before this week one game against the Browns, the Cowboys made Dak Prescott the highest paid quarterback in NFL history on a 4-year, $240 million contract. In what had been a really confusing offseason where Jerry Jones wouldn't commit to his guys, he finally caved and paid both of them the big time deal. And Dallas came out to play on Sunday and they dominated the Browns on the road. They won this game 33-17, but it was much bigger of a blowout than the score says so. On the road, obviously Dak and Ceedee were cooking in the first half. They were up 3 touchdowns. And there were a lot of question marks with this offensive line coming into the year. There are a few new offensive linemen. Ezekiel Elliott is now the starting running back with no more Tony Pollard. And a big question that we were all asking ourselves is how much gas does he have left in the tank? But I thought he actually looked really good. He had a heck of a game against this stout Browns defense. And for what everybody was saying about him this offseason, I definitely still think he has some juice left. And now I touched on the offensive line in the run game. I thought they looked really good there, but I also thought they looked good in the pass game. They kept Dak upright and the pass protection was good. They were going up against Myles Garrett, Zadarius Smith. The Browns have a really good defensive line, and I thought this Cowboys offense came to play. Now on the defensive side of the ball, the Cowboys had an incredible performance. They made Deshaun Watson look like a nobody. Mike is their only big time guy who hasn't been paid yet, and he had a great game. He sacked Watson, was getting after him all game long. This secondary and Trayvon Diggs in particular were locked down, and it's going to be fun to see what this defense can do now at full strength when they get Deron Bland back in a few weeks. I also thought Mike Zimmer called an incredible game, the defensive coordinator for the Cowboys. This offseason, Dallas lost former defensive coordinator Dan Quinn, who's now the head coach of the Commanders, but they hired former Vikings head coach Mike Zimmer, who's been around in the NFL for a while. And I was always confused about this coming into the year. So many people in the media were saying that this was the year that Dallas fell off the cliff. And in my head, I was like, why? This Dallas team has won 11 games in the last 3 years. Now, I know they don't have the postseason success that everybody expects from them, but still, they always show up in the regular season. They still have Mike McCarthy. They still have Dak Prescott. They still have Ceedee Lamb. Brandon Cooks is no scrub. And they still have great pieces on the defensive side of the ball. Now, I know it's only week one. You have the entire offseason, so when you get this 60 minutes of football, it's so easy to overreact to what you see. But for me, this was a statement win for the Dallas Cowboys. The Cleveland Browns are a good team. They were in the playoffs last year, and they finally got their quarterback healthy. Now, I think if this defense can stay healthy, it's going to be one of the best units in football. We didn't see Trayvon Diggs play last year. He had the early Achilles injury that kept him out the entire season. But once they get Deron Bland back, they're going to be a scary team. Now, I know it's so easy to give Dak Prescott criticism because he hasn't been great in the postseason, but this Cowboys defense was a big part of why this team lost last year. This Packers team dominated the line of scrimmage in the playoffs last year, and they ran it all over the Cowboys. Now, I know Dak had the 2 early interceptions, but if the defense can just get a stop, this game is a lot closer, and the Cowboys have a real shot at winning it. So I'm not looking at the offensive side of the ball as much as other people are to determine whether there's Super Bowl contenders or not. If this defense can continue to get better throughout the regular season, you might be seeing me call the Dallas Cowboys contenders in a few weeks. But for now, I'm not going to sit here and overreact. The Dallas Cowboys are always great in the regular season, but everybody knows they've got to get it done in the playoffs now more than ever. But for all the criticism this offseason, the Dallas Cowboys are going to be just fine. They have the explosive playmakers on the outside, and they have a dangerous defense. Don't sleep on this Cowboys team for 1 minute. I'm Caden Kubler, and that's my take.